All right, we're going to go ahead and move into the second part of the lesson, and we're going to review why an author made a certain choice and review the signposts. So, last Monday, we were reviewing something called a signpost, and basically, this is a choice an author made, and we are focusing on two numbers and statistics and extreme and absolute language. So, I'm going to go ahead and review both of these things for your information because you are going to see them again in today's reading and go over a question from your exit ticket on Monday. So, when seeing that an author made a very specific choice, I want you guys to be thinking, did the author include this signpost to emphasize, clarify, or illustrate information about the topic? Again, to emphasize is to stress the importance. So when you see the word emphasize, I want you to think, is the author stressing the importance of something? To clarify is to explain more, and to illustrate is to create a picture or help the reader visualize something. So when you see that the author is using numbers or statistics, the purpose is usually to emphasize an amount or to help illustrate a fact. I'm going to give you two examples again that we went over from Monday in case you need a little review or didn't watch the video. So I'm going to go ahead and read this top paragraph, and I'm going to highlight the number. So the author says there is a huge number of different kinds of viruses. Viruses cause many kinds of diseases, from a simple cold to Ebola, a deadly disease that killed thousands. So the author is making a choice. He is choosing to emphasize to the reader that the Ebola virus killed thousands of people. So he's emphasizing how deadly the Ebola virus was. Down here, the author has a different purpose but is using a number again. He states viruses are tiny. If the human genome were a 12,000 page book, the flu virus would be about 2 words. So the author is trying to illustrate and give us an analogy. He's comparing the human genome to a 1,200 page book and trying to illustrate how small and tiny a virus is compared to that. He's also emphasizing that viruses are teeny tiny, and then says the smallest virus is the circovirus, and it would be just a letter or 2. So I want to stamp that when you see numbers, the author is choosing to use numbers or statistics. The purpose is typically to emphasize an amount or help illustrate a fact. The next signpost that an author might choose to use is extreme or absolute language. And typically when the author is choosing to use extreme or absolute language, the purpose is to emphasize an emotion or information. So here's another example of extreme or absolute language. The author states, do humans come from seawater viruses? More research may help answer these and other interesting questions. Whatever the case, it is clear that these tiny viruses will always be a problem for us to deal with. Using the word always is absolute. The author is certain that viruses will always be a problem for us to deal with. He is emphasizing that viruses will always be a problem for humans. Let's go ahead and go over an example from your exit ticket. So on Monday, you saw this question. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds, and if you need to, pause the video to go over the answer choices, and we're going to be eliminating some to think of what the right answer is. All right, so I asked you guys why the author included a statistic. And so down here, let's go ahead and read this together. It says, historians think that worldwide at least 20 million people and maybe as many as 50 million died from the disease in 1918 to 1919. It could be twice that many. At that time, not all places in the world kept medical records. So again, we need to go back and think. When an author is using numbers, the author's purpose is typically to emphasize. Therefore, D would have been the right answer. So when you see numbers, the author's purpose is typically to emphasize or illustrate. And I want you guys to remember that when you go into your independent practice and exit ticket today. So when you see that an author has used a signpost, I want you to think, did the author include this signpost to emphasize, clarify, or illustrate information about the topic. Again, emphasize is to stress the importance, clarify is to explain more, and illustrate is to create a picture or help the reader visualize. So you are going to go ahead and move into your independent practice, and I've noticed that you guys may or may not be reading the entire article. And so I want you guys to really take time to read this entire article, and I'm going to chunk it for you guys, and you're going to be identifying pop-out sentences. So the article you are going to read is also going to be about the 1918 flu pandemic, but it's connecting it to modern day. So the title is "The Flu Sneaks Up on Us. Scientists are trying to stop that." As many of you are aware, we still deal with different types of the flu today, and scientists are trying to prevent another pandemic from happening. So the first thing that you're going to do is you are going to be going through and previewing and predicting. I just want to go over how you do that. When you're previewing and predicting, you're going to look at all of the text features, you're going to ask 2 questions, and you are going to write a prediction. This will be your expectation for that part of the independent practice. I'm going to ask you to preview the text by looking at the text features, asking 2 great questions, and I want them to be really specific towards the subheading or the title or the picture, something that you hope the text will answer, and make a valid prediction. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get started. I'm going to be checking your work. I will start returning work that is not up to expectation, so please make sure that you're trying your best reading the article and making really valid predictions, because it will ultimately help you understand the text better. So you guys got this, and I'm going to go ahead and let you get started on your work. If you need to watch this video again for a review, it will always be here for you to watch.